Modern Warfare's PR has taken a turn for the worse over the last week or two due to the fact that the folks over at Activision not only locked the survival mode of Spec Ops behind PS4 exclusivity for a whole year, the game's entire lifespan, but also because of leaks suggesting that pay-to-win loot boxes with weapons in them will make their way into Modern Warfare over time, trickle in over time. And this is something that Activision or Infinity Ward isn't refuting, so that makes things even more disconcerting. And for the pay-to-win loot box leak specifically, that comes from a Twitter user going by the username The Gaming Revolution. Now, this Twitter user has since provided an update on what's been going on behind the scenes. And keep in mind that with any leaks, you should take them with a grain of salt. But the reason I'm highlighting anything the Gaming Revolution's saying is because this individual has a proven track record of accurate leaks in the past. Even then, this is not 100% confirmed. Take it with a grain of salt, but at the very least, it's worth noting. So apparently, since the backlash began for survival mode and the rumors of pay-to-win loot boxes, this is what's happened. This tweet reads, Activision and Infinity Ward apparently recently held a big meeting regarding my recent post about supply drops. The gist of it is that they've lost a ton of pre-orders with the recent news of survival being delayed by a year on PC and Xbox, and the microtransactions news, and are thinking about giving the player the options to earn them again. Nothing regarding microtransactions is set in stone, and like I've said countless times before, they are a constant work in progress. But my source wanted to let the community know that they really care. Okay, so I guess there's the possibility that due to the backlash, they'll reconsider certain aspects of the monetization system, but like he said, nothing is set in stone. They keep developing this stuff right up until launch. Whether they're rattled enough to completely pull back on pay-to-win loot boxes, that remains to be seen. That's something the leaker doesn't 100% know based on what his sources are telling him, because again, this is just a constantly shifting thing. From there, the Gaming Revolution provided the following screenshot showing the exchange this Twitter user had with his source. So right here it reads, also the whole supply drop stuff you posted is really working. Activision and Infinity Ward had a huge meeting about it. They lost a lot of pre-orders for the game, which means they might go back to earning weapons instead of putting them in supply drops. If this is indeed the case, if this leak or what they're showing here is the truth, then they'll certainly have done a great service by letting people know ahead of time what could be coming and allowing people to react and express their discontent. Because in the end, we all want this game to be good. This could be the best Call of Duty game in years. And Activision stands to just mar all of that with their greedy antics. So it is good that this information got out there and that people have an opportunity to express why this is just awful and why they hope that this is something Activision will walk back on, lest they intend to have a rough launch. Now, just yesterday, another leaker provided the following information according to this Reddit post. This headline reads, according to the Chinese leaker Victor, there will be only weapon variants like the XRK weapons pack in loot boxes, no weapons in them. So this is a tweet in Chinese that's been translated as such, and the Gaming Revolution spoke to that effect in this tweet right here, which reads, currently the crossbow is planned to be the first weapon in supply drops. At launch, everything is cosmetic only. Victor is technically right, but only for launch. But I think we were all expecting this. So what the Gaming Revolution's claiming is that, yes, this is true for now. Initially, this might be how the monetization system of Modern Warfare will present itself, but down the line, Activision had plans to slowly evolve the monetization to implement pay-to-win loot boxes to add weapons into supply drops. So this right here, this is the initial tweet that got people talking. It talked about how supply drops will feature all of these emotes and titles and sprays, hundreds of them, on top of weapons that are included in the supply drops. And obviously, the fact that there's all this crap on top of the weapons also means that the odds of getting what you want will be much lower because there's so much other crap stuffed as part of the supply drops rewards pool. And right here, the Gaming Revolution claims that there was a more fair system in place that has since been replaced by the intent to pursue pay-to-win loot boxes. And then the individual talked about what a disservice this is all to developers who have poured their heart and soul into this game, trying to make it the best it can be, only for all of that to be marred by Activision's monetization mandates. Now, in response to that leak, Joel Emslie, who is the studio art director at Infinity Ward, wrote the following post on Reddit talking about how he thinks people should consider Infinity Ward developers more, especially since a lot of them don't have a say in a lot of the monetization aspects, which, I can concur with. But he also said this, which didn't sit well with a lot of people. There are some announcements that have come up this week that are official and some that are rumors. My ask of all of you is to focus on information that is actually fact and not get thrown off by ill-informed people that want to make a name for themselves by spreading half-baked inflammatory rumors. Let's work real problems together and not fairy tales of boogeymen. And the problem with this is that this guy is basically saying just wait until we know the facts, except neither Activision nor Infinity Ward are providing the facts. He's basically asking us to trust them, which is hard to do in an era when the loot box stuff is so prominent. Given Call of Duty's past history, the supply drop stuff has always been pretty terrible and it's gotten worse and worse over time. So for Joel to say, just trust us, wait until you know the facts, don't try to look ahead before you buy our game, I think that's just not an ideal response. That's not a fair ask, because we live in an era where you have to be forward-thinking because publishers are going out of their way to screw players. And right here, he equates loot boxes to fairy tales of boogeymen, but that's not a fair comparison. Loot boxes are very real. They're prominently featured in video games, and we have seen the same pattern of publishers and developers telling their community to not worry, and then before long, they implement the stuff that we dread. Now, the Gaming Revolution got wind of this. He's well aware that when Joel is talking about ill-informed people that want to make a name for themselves by spreading half-baked inflammatory rumors, he's probably referring to the Gaming Revolution's leaks. And on that front, this is the response the Gaming Revolution provided. I gave content creators stuff to cover during times of no official news. I could have been selfish and saved everything for my own videos. I ask you, Joel Emslie, if I was just trying to make a name for myself by covering these leaks, why only now would you make this claim? Why, when the leaks were purely positive, more or less, did you follow me on Twitter and like and respond to a couple tweets? Only now is this claim brought up when I bring up something negative. Believe it or not, this takes a hell of a lot of my time up spending time collating all of the information. And spending way too much time then is healthy on Twitter. Almost everything is on Twitter and not videos. I just want to keep this game alive. This is where Fortnite succeeded, by having regular stuff to keep people talking about the game. If you're making changes to the microtransaction system, be goddamn honest about it. Don't try to play it all off. I know the system is constantly being changed non-stop and is subject to change, but don't act like I'm misinformed when it's coming directly from the horse's mouth. You guys have also tried covering up about stuff being removed from the campaign, of which is so disingenuous. Without me here, people wouldn't get this deeper dive look, and they would just be left in the dark regarding this kind of stuff, never knowing any of it ever happened. So, assuming the leaks are true, then I don't entirely disagree with this stance. And apparently, when the leaks were positive and caused positive buzz, Joel didn't seem to mind and actually seemed to follow the Gaming Revolution on Twitter and liked his stuff and seemed to approve of those more positive leaks that generated hype. But the second the leaks are negative, that's when Joel sort of takes a different tone and claims that this individual is ill-informed, or at least that's what the Gaming Revolution claims based on his experiences. I wouldn't know for sure. I'm not aware of what exactly is going on behind the scenes. One thing I vehemently agree with is microtransaction system, be goddamn honest about it. Here's the thing, if Activision just came out right now and said, we promise, we swear that there will never be weapons in supply drops and loot boxes ever, that would quench a lot of fears. Because they're not saying anything to refute the leaks, they're not saying there's information spreading that is 100% false, we're not going to do pay-to-win loot boxes, they're not saying anything like that, and as a result, the way people are looking at this is that, yeah, they definitely have plans, because otherwise they would have announced something to gain that positive PR to get rid of all the confusion and worries and concerns. But yeah, for now, all we can do is wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see if the leak here is true, if Activision does have intentions to change things behind the scenes, or if they plan to go full steam ahead with these pay-to-win supply drops. And the thing is, even if Activision does come out and say, all right, we promise no weapons in loot boxes for Modern Warfare, given their history of just flat out lying about that kind of stuff, you never know. They might just decide to go back on their word and implement pay-to-win loot boxes anyway. And see, that's the unfortunate thing about the kind of environment publishers have fostered in the gaming landscape. It's just people can't trust publishers anymore, even if they swear and make promises. They're willing to break their word, go back on their word at any given time. So who's to say what will happen, regardless of what a developer or an executive touts. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what your take is on the Gaming Revolution's leaks, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out!